Welcome to week 5 of Making Writing Relevant. My name is Beth Driver. You already know that, hopefully. We have arrived at week 5 of this course. I'm so excited. I hope you guys are too. You've made it halfway through. Congratulations. That's awesome. So before you do anything else, this is what I want you to do. Go to the grade book. Now let's discuss what you should have done already so far. Hopefully you're not where I am, which is an F. That's not really good. And I'm sure most of you are not at 0% right now. So let's see what you should have completed. You should have the week 2 assignment completed, the week 3 assignment completed, the week 1, week 2, and week 3 forum. You have completed these 2 forums. I have not graded them yet. I will grade them shortly. Then you should have the grammar quiz completed. And then this week you have, last week you should also have the comma quiz completed. If you did not complete that comma quiz or grammar quiz, it's really not that big a deal. Go ahead and take it now. The quizzes are still open. If you notice any issues with missing assignments or any sort of missing work, come contact me immediately and I will look into the issue. Sometimes it's because something didn't get uploaded properly. Sometimes it's because I didn't see that it was turned in. Sometimes there's some sort of technical issue, but I can't help you unless you let me know what the issue is. So make sure you go through the grade book and look through the assignments and make sure that you have everything completed. All right, so on to week 5. This week you have a number of assignments due, and we're going to look at the grade book again so you understand what's due. Actually, you only have one assignment due, but it's a biggie. It is the week 5 position paper. Since most of you are concerned about that, let's go ahead and first look at the assignment and then look at the details of it. All right, so this is due for 100 points. There is a link in here that we'll look at in a moment. So I'll pull it up in a sec. But let's go back over here. There is a video that can show you how to do a 5-paragraph essay. However, I want you to know that for this particular assignment, it does not have to be just 5 paragraphs. It can be 4 paragraphs. It can be 7 paragraphs. It can be 6 paragraphs. 5 paragraphs is just the typical format that many people use. However, for me, I do not necessarily want nor need you to keep to this 5-paragraph structure. I do want you to have a thesis statement. Then I want you to have body paragraphs that prove that thesis statement and a conclusion. All right, and I'll go into that in a little bit. And also I'm going to upload a video that shows you how to write an essay in general, which should help you. Note this, do not use any first person in your essay. This means I, my, we, us, our, mine, and so on. Do not use any second person in your essay, you and your. I only want you to use third person. If you have a sentence and you're not sure how to redo it in third person, send the sentence to me. I can show you how to do it. It's not that big a deal. All right. The length at minimum is 1,000 words. I really would like you to kind of keep towards that minimum. So it doesn't say a maximum, but I'm going to say the maximum really should be at most 1,500 words. However, I'm going to keep in mind that there isn't a maximum listed here. But really, try to keep it around 1,500 words. 1,000 at most, at a minimum, and 5,000 words, 1,500 words at most. 4 pages, so that's approximately 4 pages. In Times New Roman font. I will not take off points, though, if you go above the minimum. And if you go above my maximum from this video, I'm obviously not going to take off because it doesn't mention a maximum in the assignment directions. For the format style, I'm going to upload some videos this week showing you how to format an essay MLA style and format an essay APA style. If you use Chicago, I'll offer some links for that too in my forum post. Note that you need to keep this consistent. That is, if you have citations that are APA, your essay should be formatted APA. If you have citations that are MLA, your essay should be formatted MLA style. Now, for this essay, you are offering a position on a controversial issue. That is why it's called a position paper. In your essay, you're going to have an introduction. The introduction should be about 5 sentences long. It can be more, but it shouldn't be less. The last sentence of your introduction should be a thesis statement. The thesis statement tells me specifically what your stance is on this issue. In other words, your position. Your thesis gives me your position. It should not be a question. It should not be just a fact. It needs to state a position on a controversial issue. So you have the introduction, 5 sentences, then you end it with your position. In the body, your paragraphs will support that position, and each body paragraph will start with a topic sentence and a transition. Okay, so for example, let's go back over here. Climate change is for real because of the deadly wildfires in California, the horrific hurricanes off the East Coast, and the melting ice caps at the North Pole. So you would prove climate change by, first, climate change is an actuality because of the raging wildfires in California. The first would be your transition. Then you would have your topic sentence, which would be the one that I just mentioned. And then all the information that follows would be points that prove the raging wildfires in California and how that's an example of climate change. Another example of climate change that occurs would be the horrific hurricanes off the East Coast. Another example would be an example of a transition. That would be the start of your third paragraph. And then all the information after that topic sentence would prove the horrific hurricanes showing climate change. Finally, the melting ice caps at the North Pole exemplify climate change in the world today. So finally would be your final transition. And then all the information in paragraph 4 would be used to prove that thesis statement right here. Then you would have your conclusion, which should be at least 5 sentences long as well. Now, if you find that to prove your point, you only need 2 paragraphs, that's fine. But remember, you have to have 1,000 words. If you need 4 paragraphs to prove this thesis, that's fine too, as long as each of these paragraphs are at least 5 sentences long, and each of your paragraphs should include some sort of research. Now, here's the thing. The research should not be just listed in your citation list, whether it's an APA citation list, a Chicago reference list, or an MLA works cited list. You must use these sources using in-text citations. Very important. I want to see where you've used these sources in your discussion. Source minimum, 3. At least 1 from the library and 1 from a professional organization. Usually professional organizations end with .org or .edu. If you have a question about a source, please contact me immediately. Okay? So here is the essay rubric. I'm going to pull this up. So this gives you an idea of what I'm looking for. The way you format your essay is the essay setup. That's worth 5%. I am not looking for perfection, but I want you to try it. Okay? If you don't do anything, you're not going to do well on this. If you have a few errors, I might give you this. If it's just 1 error, I'm probably going to give you proficient because I know this is your first essay, okay? I'm not looking for perfection, but I want you to try and try your best. Introduction, 10%. Your introduction should be at least 5 sentences long, and it should end with a thesis statement that tells me your position. Your thesis, 10%. It's very important. Why is it 10%? Because your thesis statement is the most important sentence in your entire essay. It states your stance, it lets me know exactly what you plan to prove, and it's all encompassing. It is that important. That's why it's worth 10%. For your essay, it should be one sentence. Sometimes it's two sentences for longer essays, but when I say longer, I mean like 5 to 10 pages. But for shorter essays like this one, it's usually just one sentence. And it states your position. Topic sentences. We've discussed this already, but in each of your body paragraphs, you should start with a topic sentence that lets me know the point of the paragraph. And it also includes a transition. First, also, in addition, finally, second. Also, I think I already said also. Oh, I'm just repeating myself. Anyway, so you just need to have a transition and you need to include a topic sentence that points me towards the purpose of the paragraph, and it also shows me how that paragraph proves your position. Body paragraphs. Are they 5 sentences long? Are they all on track? Do they work towards proving that topic sentence, which also proves that thesis statements? Do they include research? Okay. I want to see research in each body paragraph. Use your sources. Grammar. That's a big one. 20% of your grade. Proofread. If you have a question about grammar, ask me. Okay. But proofread. Find a trusted proofreader to help you. Grammar's worth a lot. I want to see academic writing. I also want to see you use third person, not first or second person. And finally, you have your conclusion. Well, actually, not finally, but your final paragraph is your conclusion. That's worth 10%. Make it interesting. Reword your thesis in light of your discussion and make it at least 5 sentences long. In-text citations. That's an important one. You have to format some in-text citations in your essay. I'm not looking for perfection, but you need to use each of the sources that you list in your citation list. So if you don't include research, you're going to have point deductions here, but you're also going to have point deductions here. Use your research. References or works cited. Format those correctly. That's 10% of your grade. It should be the final page of your essay. All right. So now you have a better idea of what I'm expecting for this essay. Let's go up again. Let's look at this week's lesson. And my computer is running a little, oh, good. There it is. It's running a little slow today for some reason. So I want you to go through and read the lesson. Main thing is write a position essay. It doesn't necessarily have to be 5 paragraphs. It says 5 paragraphs here. I want you to have a strong introduction, body paragraphs, and conclusion paragraphs. Persuade me through the use of outside sources. Now there's a number of things that it says for you to go through this week. I want you to go through mainly this lesson right here. There's also some grammar help. This might be helpful in terms of helping you understand how to cite sources APA style. I don't expect you to read this book, of course, or this book, but you can glance through it. If you have a grammar question, you can look through there, or you could just ask me. There's some style guides here that could help you, and then there's the English program guide. But the main bulk of your reading this week will be this lesson right here. And basically what this lesson is doing is that it's showing you how to look at sources and how to find strong sources. Now let's take, for example, a lot of you want to write on gun control, which is fine. I don't mind if you write on gun control. I read a lot of essays on gun control, either for or against additional gun control or reducing the control the government over has our use of guns in the country. However, when you look for sources, you need to find non-biased sources. And what do I mean by that? Well, we all know that, let's say CNN has a different stance on gun control sometimes than Fox News, right? And if you're writing a an essay on the reduction of gun control in this country, using Fox News as an example would be a biased source. And the same would be true if you're using CNN or MSNBC or something like that. Those sources, if you're trying to prove to me that there should be gun control, those sources would be considered biased. And plus, they don't really go into depth that you would need for an academic article. Instead, what you need to use, and I'm going to pull up the library, what you need to use is unbiased academic sources that are scholarly. And what do I mean by scholarly sources? What do I mean by peer-reviewed essays? Basically, what that means is you are looking for sources that have been written by experts in the field and examined for accuracy by experts in the field as well. And the best places to find these sources are Academic, Search Premier, and here's another one, EBSCO, and here's another one, ProQuest. And then I'm going to pull up an interesting article that you might find useful will be Nexus Uni. All right, so let's go ahead and go to ProQuest since a lot of you have a tendency to use that one. So I'm going to pull it up. It's going to take a few moments. And I'm going to limit my search. So what I want to do is I'm going to look up peer-reviewed. All right, so let's do gun control. And what's going to happen is, I already know it, there's going to be thousands and thousands of sources because this is a huge issue. Like I said, thousands and thousands of sources. So I'm going to want to modify my search because that's just way too much. So let me see if I can go over here to advanced search, and I'm going to go gun control, and I'm going to go into, let's say, lobby. Okay, and I'm going to add another row, and I'm going to say, I guess laws. I think that should limit it a little bit, but I still think I'm going to have thousands and thousands of sources. All right. Now let's take a look at this one. Look to see where it's published. The Journal of Business and Economics Research. Now let's look at the authors. Michael Jones. Who is this Michael Jones? Well, it looks like he's a professor, right? So he seems like he'd probably be pretty much an expert in the field. And then let's look at this. Michael Jones, PhD. George W. Stone, PhD. Do you see how that could possibly be a little more convincing to someone than something that you find off of, let's say, Fox News or some sort of .com site? And then what you would do is, if you find this interesting, you would look at the abstract, and that gives you an idea of what the article is about. Now, let's say you decide, you know what, this is really interesting, I'm going to use it. And you have used it. You've cited the authors in text in your discussion. Well, then, to cite this, all you would have to do is click on the cite link, and then you could switch the method of citations to whatever you want, and then just click on change, all right? But this is an example of a peer-reviewed article. It's an article that's written by expert and examined for accuracy by other experts. It's harder to read. These are more difficult. They're filled with academic jargon at times. And that's why it's okay just to use one of these sources. And then you can, one or two of these sources. And then you could go ahead and use, other sources from .edu or .org sites. But let's go back, and I want to show you Nexus Uni. That's a little bit easier to access, although it isn't really as academic as ProQuest or EBSCO, simply because Nexus Uni gives you newspaper articles. So it pulls up a bunch of newspaper articles throughout the world, which is kind of interesting, but it sometimes can be a little biased too. But you might find it easier to understand. So let's go gun control. And I'm going to show you just like, I'm going to limit it. So I'm going to say 7 days because that will help me a little more in terms of, so I won't have thousands and thousands. I'll just have 2,000. Anyway, so sometimes these sources are a little bit easier to access because they're news from CBS and sometimes foreign news sources, but they're a little bit easier to understand because they're written at a more of a high school level, whereas sometimes these academic articles are written for college students and they can be a little trickier, I think. Anyway, so basically that's all you have due this week. You don't even have a forum due. Note that. You can post a tweet if you want, but it's not required. But other than that, it's pretty much all the assignments you have due this week. Of course, if you have questions, please let me know. I'm also going to upload some videos that show you how to format and a general essay writing video. But that's basically your assignments this week. Hopefully I covered everything. This is a newer video than some of the earlier ones. So this is a 2019 version of the English 110 lesson. So hopefully my new video helped you. Have a great week, everyone. Message me if you have any questions. Bye-bye.